and Human Rights Training and Documentation Center for Southwest Asia and the Arab region. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and honestly, the last moments usually is emotional, inspiring, but also with lots of promising and lots of commitments and motivation. This conference played a crucial and important role in motivating us all toward doing more. We all recognized the great need for human rights education. And we all recognized that together and only together we can make a difference in the lives of millions and millions of people all over the world. The challenges are very high, but we still believe, despite all the backlashes that some of our colleagues talked about in the first day, but I believe that working together and to continue our efforts together and to network with all actors and leaders and the human rights defenders all over the world, we can create a big difference in the lives of all people. On behalf of OHCHR, of course, I would like to thank first Concordia University for hosting us in this great event. And for Equitas, this 20 years old relationship with OHCHR, of course, will continue, strengthened, and we are every time organize an event with Equitas, get more convinced that there is a space always to do more. And the expectations from our partners and the friends coming from all the countries in the world are very high, and we are willing as OHCHR to continue this kind of cooperation and always think and discuss together how we can strengthen and improve and develop this kind of cooperation and to try as much as we can to fulfill the expectations of all of our partners. On the personal level, I am very happy as this is my first time to attend the global conference on the level and the quality of discussions, the presentations, the good experiences that were shared, and also on the side discussions and meetings, despite some of the colleagues mentioned the limited time for organizing such networking meetings, but it was such a great opportunity to meet all those friends, colleagues, and the human rights defenders from many countries around the world. I am very much inspired and motivated, and now we'll return to Doha Center. We cover around 25 countries in our mandate with stronger motivation, commitment, and dedication to the human rights issues and the human rights education. And I believe finally that this conference is not the end. It is just a start. All the documented cases of good practices or the experiences that you shared in this conference, Equitas, together with our office, will work in producing the final report and document so that we can use it as a tool to promote the good practices among all the practitioners all over the world. It will be prepared in English, and hopefully we'll be as a center working on the Arabic version of this publication. But please let us know in which way we can continue this kind of cooperation and support for all of you. And thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, George. I'd like to now introduce Andrė Roy, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Science here at Concordia University, our host for the conference. Mr. Roy.
Merci, Vincent. C'est un plaisir de faire partie de cette séance de clôture de votre conférence, de notre conférence, la 8e conférence internationale sur l'éducation et les droits de la personne. Bridging our diversities. So, I hope you've enjoyed the conference, and I think the scores were showing that you did. It was a really strong program and a very significant one. So it was a great pleasure to host you here at Concordia, and in partnership with Equitas. As you all know, Equitas is celebrating its 50th anniversary of wonderful work around the world. And it was our privilege as a university, as Concordia, to be associated with Equitas. J'aimerais juste vous dire que la première fois que j'ai personnellement rencontré Ian Hamilton et l'équipe Equitas, accompagné du directeur du département d'éducation, Richard Schmidt, j'ai tout de suite compris l'alignement des valeurs. Our values at Concordia are very much aligned with what Equitas is doing, and it was, as I said, a privilege, but also an opportunity to establish a very strong partnership with Equitas as we were participating in organizing this conference. Values of social justice, engagement, inclusivity are all part of the DNA of Concordia, and I think sort of being part of this conference was also part of that mandate, let alone the mandate of education, which is also the mandate of the university. Je suis aussi ravi de voir la place de la francophonie dans la conférence. C'est vraiment important, moi je suis francophone, et c'est vraiment important de voir la francophonie tenir un rôle aussi présent, non seulement du fait que la langue est parlée, mais aussi du fait que plusieurs des thèmes qui ont été abordés concernaient la francophonie en particulier. A conference like this is a way to measure the distance that we've achieved, but also to measure the gaps that remain. And to follow George's, it's an opportunity to learn from others, and in the Faculty of Arts and Science at Concordia, we do have that mantra of learning from others. Education is never a one-way street. It's a multilateral street. And a conference like this is one way to learn and build the collective. And the learning from others, it's interesting because I prepared these notes before seeing the little pie chart, which actually said, the question was, what have you learned from this conference? And everyone responded, but one of the great things is to sort of go back to where we come from with a really key message that we've learned here together. And one thing that academics tend to do is often to reflect amongst academics. This is great. It's fantastic, actually. But at the same time, it's quite limited. And one big benefit of this conference was to bring practitioners from all realms with the academic, with la société civile, with government and other institutions, in order to sort of build this sort of bridge between what could be knowledge, or what we learn, and effective practice. And we do need effective practice when it comes to human rights, to les droits de la personne. There's a sense of urgency, and George alluded to quite a few key issues that you've addressed during the conference, be it gender, human exploitation, indigenous issues, democracy or post-democracy, youth issues. For my part, I work in the field of environment. And one of the big challenges is when we look at global environmental change and how the equity aspect of it comes as a pressing need. We just think about migrations or vulnerability. So one of the key points, and I think George alluded to that as well, is this idea of working together in order not just to have a great conference, but also a follow-up to that conference. Comment y donne suite? I was quite pleased with telling Ian that this is sort of a commitment from you to the next step, and I wish I could put my own onto this. As we look from this 8th chapter to the 9th one that will happen in Sydney, that we have something that we've achieved in between. Now, I want to thank all of you for coming to Concordia, coming to Montreal, coming on our campus, with the objective to educate but also learn from others, and looking beyond the conference. But also I'd like to thank Equitas, fantastic partner, and all the partners that participated into the organization of this conference. And I want to have a special thank to the volunteers who actually were instrumental. I think c'est quelque chose d'avoir les salles, mais c'est encore mieux d'avoir les gens. Et Equitas, merci. Et à la prochaine. The 9th one is coming soon. So thank you.
Thank you very much, André. Maintenant, j'ai le plaisir de vous présenter Madame Audrey Delacroix, conseillère jeunesse et sport du cabinet de la secrétaire générale de la francophonie.
Merci. Bonjour à toutes et à tous. J'ai le plaisir aujourd'hui de venir à votre rencontre à la demande de la secrétaire générale de la francophonie, Madame Jean, que vous avez invitée à cette conférence. Avant de vous livrer son message, je voudrais, moi aussi, à titre personnel, m'adresser à vous pour à la fois vous remercier de nous avoir offert cette occasion de parler aujourd'hui et puis de participer avant-hier également à un atelier sur les droits des personnes LGBT. C'était un moment extrêmement important, extrêmement fort, avec effectivement une approche spécifiquement dédiée à la francophonie. Monsieur le doyen vient de remarquer effectivement à quel point la francophonie était présente pendant ces journées de conférence. Nous y sommes extrêmement sensibles et je vous remercie d'avoir permis cela. C'est un message très fort que je rapporterai avec moi à Paris auprès de Madame Jean et de tous nos collègues de l'espace francophone. Je voulais également m'associer aux remerciements de Monsieur le doyen et à celui de Monsieur Abualzul également, qui s'adresse en particulier à tout le personnel d'Equitas et à tous les bénévoles qui ont permis ces 3 journées de conférences extrêmement riches et fructueux, parce que vous avez réalisé un travail absolument formidable. La mobilisation des bénévoles est essentielle, on le voit en de nombreuses circonstances, et c'était vraiment un trésor et un atout extrêmement important. Merci à vous toutes et à vous tous pour cet accueil et ce travail vraiment de très grande qualité. Merci. Et puis, si vous me permettez, un dernier message aussi nourri de cette expérience pendant 3 jours, c'est remercier, bien entendu, l'Université Concordia, à travers vous, Monsieur le doyen, et puis, bien entendu, le ministère des Relations internationales du Québec, les représentants des autorités canadiennes, également du gouvernement fédéral, qui ont été extrêmement présents et investis également ces derniers jours. Et puis, bien entendu, le Haut-Commissariat aux droits de l'homme des Nations Unies, que nous avons plaisir également à croiser ici en de maintes occasions. Et puis, vous toutes et vous tous qui venez du monde entier, l'ensemble des participants, merci à toutes et à tous. Si vous me le permettez maintenant, je vais opérer ma mue et vous délivrer le message que la secrétaire générale de la francophonie m'a demandé de partager avec vous. Elle était extrêmement attachée à pouvoir s'adresser à vous aujourd'hui. Et donc, voici ces quelques mots à votre attention. Monsieur le directeur général d'Equitas, Monsieur le doyen de la faculté des arts et des sciences de l'Université de Concordia, Mesdames et Messieurs les représentants du Haut-Commissariat aux droits de l'homme des Nations Unies, Monsieur le responsable de l'organisation de la 9e conférence sur l'éducation aux droits humains, Mesdames et Messieurs, permettez-moi tout d'abord de vous dire combien j'ai été honorée de votre invitation, mais également combien je regrette de ne pouvoir me joindre à vous aujourd'hui, et ce particulièrement en cette année du 50e anniversaire d'Equitas. Je sais l'immense richesse des actions qui sont menées par vous toutes et vous tous sur le terrain, vous tous les défenseurs des droits humains. Et c'est pourquoi j'attache beaucoup de prix à ce que mon message vous parvienne aujourd'hui. J'y accorde d'autant plus d'importance que l'actualité ne nous ménage pas. Chaque jour, dans le monde entier, les droits humains sont bafoués avec la plus grande violence. Les droits des enfants, des femmes, des minorités, des personnes handicapées, les droits religieux, politiques, linguistiques, culturels, environnementaux, économiques, la liberté d'expression, la liberté sexuelle et le droit de mobilité sont entravés et piétinés. Manifestement, nous n'avons pas appris du passé. Et ce sont nos diversités que l'on assassine tous les jours. Ces diversités, vous avez décidé de les rapprocher. Ces diversités, elles me parlent au cœur, parce qu'elles sont l'ADN du projet politique que la francophonie porte depuis ses origines. Ces diversités, dont nous nous enrichissons, je vous propose de les relier. Or, rapprocher et relier nos diversités exige, comme vous le savez, d'investir prioritairement et massivement dans l'éducation. Ensemble ou séparément, nous le faisons déjà bien entendu, et chacun aura pu le constater pendant ces 3 formidables journées. Tout comme vous, l'Organisation internationale de la francophonie est devenue au fil des années un acteur majeur de la promotion des droits de l'homme par l'éducation. Elle prend sa part à cela, par exemple, lorsqu'elle a soutenu Equitas dans un programme de renforcement des capacités et de participation au processus démocratique en Égypte, au Maroc ou en Tunisie. Elle fait de même depuis quelques années en publiant un manuel intitulé « L'éducation aux droits de l'homme, comprendre et agir ». Ou bien encore, comme nous le ferons l'année prochaine, lorsque nous allons diffuser le premier cours d'enseignement massif en ligne, en langue française, consacré à l'éducation aux droits de l'homme. L'éducation aux droits humains, environnementaux, et l'investissement dans la capacité entrepreneuriale des femmes et des jeunes comptent aussi au nombre des engagements qui visent à redonner des perspectives aux jeunes et à les restaurer dans leurs droits élémentaires. Ces actions et beaucoup d'autres sont menées en vertu des engagements politiques pris par nos États et gouvernements depuis de nombreuses années. Cela remonte notamment à l'année 1997 avec la Charte de la francophonie, puis la déclaration de Bamako en 2000, qui toutes deux visent à promouvoir une culture démocratique dans toutes ses dimensions par l'éducation et la formation. Mais notre corpus juridique confère aussi une place prépondérante à la jeunesse dans l'éducation aux droits humains. C'est la déclaration de Saint-Boniface en 2006, par exemple, puis en 2014, plus proche de nous, la déclaration de Dakar et la stratégie jeunesse de la francophonie qui reconnaissent explicitement les jeunes comme des acteurs de paix et des acteurs de changement. Enfin, encore plus proche de nous ces derniers jours, je dirais que les États et gouvernements ont fait la preuve de leur engagement sans relâche lorsque les droits humains sont bafoués, puisque notre récente conférence ministérielle de la francophonie, qui s'est réunie il y a quelques jours à Paris, a permis l'adoption d'une déclaration sur la protection des droits des migrants, ainsi que d'une résolution sur la paix par un autre chemin, à travers l'éducation et le dialogue interreligieux et interculturel. Mesdames et messieurs, fort de tout cela et de l'immense diversité que vous aussi vous accomplissez chaque jour, nous avons fait avancer beaucoup de causes et nous avons formé beaucoup d'esprits. Mais la tâche reste considérable et complexe dans un monde en profonde mutation politique, économique, sociétale et environnementale. Ces mutations rapides et de grande envergure nous forcent à réinterroger notre modèle de société, nos modèles de développement, mais aussi notre façon de faire société ensemble. L'ampleur des défis, bien entendu, peut donner le vertige, et en particulier lorsqu'ils sont cumulés à la tyrannie du temps court, un temps court qui exige de notre part des réponses immédiates à des problèmes pourtant structurels. Et ce vertige suscite souvent la peur, le repli sur soi et le rejet de l'altérité. Alors c'est dans ces circonstances que l'homme peut devenir un loup pour l'homme, comme le disait Thomas Hobbes. Mais il n'y a pas de fatalité à cela. Et si, comme le sénateur Murray Sinclair l'a dit il y a quelques jours, si l'on peut constater que les violations des droits de l'homme parfois ont pu émaner de certaines erreurs de l'éducation, la promotion et la défense des droits de l'homme trouvent en l'éducation sans doute sa meilleure chance de progresser. Parce que l'éducation est le plus puissant vecteur de respect, de paix et de promotion des diversités. Alors oui, l'éducation, mais à condition qu'elle s'adresse à tous. Vous le disiez tout à l'heure, à tous les enfants comme aux adultes. L'éducation aux droits humains doit être une éducation tout au long de la vie, massive et de qualité. Nous devons donc mettre un terme au scandale absolu de la déscolarisation qui touche aujourd'hui 264 millions d'enfants et de jeunes dans le monde entier. Et nous ne pouvons pas admettre plus longtemps que l'aide mondiale à l'éducation, qui par exemple, lorsqu'elle était allouée en 2015, représentait 40% de moins qu'en 2010, à l'heure où pourtant les prochains objectifs du développement durable exigent une montée en puissance de notre engagement collectif en matière d'éducation. Alors ensemble, nous devons agir pour que la prochaine conférence de financement du Partenariat mondial de l'éducation fasse toute la différence. Rendez-vous à Dakar au début du mois de février 2018. L'éducation, encore oui, mais à condition qu'elle vise à élever l'esprit, à développer la capacité de discernement, et non pas seulement à instruire, et encore moins à dresser. Il faut faire advenir la personne, décoloniser les esprits de toutes les formes de domination et cultiver notre potentiel humaniste. L'éducation, enfin, oui, mais à condition qu'elle développe la coopération entre les personnes, la congruence entre leurs actions, et non pas seulement à provoquer la concurrence. Nous devons diffuser à grande échelle des pédagogies émancipatrices, participatives et collaboratives. Vous le percevez donc sans doute aussi, une révolution sociétale est à l'œuvre. Et c'est consciente de cela que la francophonie, et sa secrétaire générale en particulier, s'attache à valoriser ce qu'elle appelle la francophonie des peuples et des solutions. Ce que nous bâtissons avec nos 84 États et gouvernements, c'est une francophonie résolument optimiste, debout et en marche face aux innombrables défis qui traversent notre espace. Car loin d'être naïfs, nous faisons délibérément le choix de répondre aux problèmes par la somme de nos solutions. Libérer les énergies, libérer la parole, former les esprits à unir nos forces et nos idées pour servir le bien commun. Tel est l'esprit dans lequel j'ai lancé en mars 2016 avec les jeunes francophones l'initiative Libre Ensemble, libre avec un S. Une initiative qui se déploie sur le terrain par un réseau de jeunes ambassadeurs de paix que nous formons, puis que nous envoyons en mission. Cette initiative se transforme progressivement en un véritable mouvement citoyen supranational, celui de jeunes qui s'engagent par différents moyens à éduquer à la paix pour résister à l'esprit de guerre. Chers amis, pour conclure, je vous dirais qu'ensemble, nous pouvons faire beaucoup et qu'ensemble, nous pouvons même tout. Alors, rapprochons et relions nos diversités, soyons prêts à bâtir sur les décombres de toutes nos oppressions. Il va nous falloir beaucoup de courage, mais du courage, nous en avons. Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup. And so now I'd like to call on Sev Ozdowski, who will be the host of the 9th International Human Rights Education Conference.
Well, thank you very much, Vincenza. Really, it's great to see so many of you here. We didn't need that evaluation because your presence here is the witness to the success of this conference. Really great. Now, what I will do today, I will tell you 2 short stories, deliver one thank you, and then we'll do a bit of advertising. And Ian, I will manage to finish on time. Now, first story. When I became a Human Rights Commissioner of Australia, I faced a major human rights issue. The government got mandatory system of immigration detention. There were thousands of people in immigration detention, including women, children, whole families. And there was a number of inquiries by Human Rights Commission and other bodies saying that this is a breach of international human rights standards. So for me, the question was how to do it to deliver a change. So I considered a number of international instruments, and I said ICCPR, International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, is not very helpful, but I found the convention dealing with the rights of the child very helpful because it specifically was talking about detentions of the children. So I focus on children, but I focus also because of another thing. I removed away stereotyping of people who came on boats to claim refugee status. The children are innocent. They are not seen by the public as doing something wrong. Then what I did, I organized the methodology of the inquiry in such a way so it's as public as possible. So I had plenty of public hearings, which included cross-examination of immigration officials. It involved also media reports. Whenever I visited immigration detention center, I was issuing a press statement after it. So it was designed very much as a battle for hearts and minds. It was designed to change public opinion. And it was designed that way because when I started it, about 65% of Australians were of the view that mandatory detention policies are okay. When I finished the inquiry, some 65% of Australians were of the view that children and families shouldn't be kept in immigration detention. What's happened next? The report was tabled in Parliament on the budget day, and within months, all families with children were released on quiet. But the point of the story is that human rights education forms public opinion, and then it impacts on governments and government practices. Lack of support for human rights sets limits for government action, as governments will go not further than the people allow it. So the point for you to remember is look always at grassroots when you are delivering human rights education. If you wish to be effective, you need to carry people with you. The second story is much more current, much more recent. Some 2 weeks ago, Australia had a referendum of whether to change family law definition of what's marriage. It was proposed to allow same-sex couples to marry. The referendum time, the time which led to referendum, was quite ugly. There was plenty of public accusations, there was even some violence. When the referendum delivered the outcome, and over 60% of Australians were for same-sex people to marry, it was like water under the bridge. Everyone agreed. It's the right thing to do. We go. There is still some negotiations about what do we do with religious freedoms, but basically it was accepted. So what I'm trying to say here is look at democratic institutions. Quite often when we speak about human rights education, we are talking about advancement of rights of specific groups, about respect, about dignity, but quite often we are forgetting about the core institutions we had at our disposal. And democratic institutions are enormously powerful, so I would suggest use them as much as possible because the democracy manages conflicts very well. We are also perhaps a bit biased in Australia because we've got a number of countries in our region which are not democratic or where democracies are quite weak. So we are trying to build it and support them, and we are doing it very much through human rights education. Now, time for a thank you. Ian, don't look at me that way, but you delivered really fantastic conference. I've been to all of them. I don't like to compare them publicly, but what I've seen here, it was unbelievable. I know it took plenty of effort, it took plenty of imagination, but to you and to your team, big thank you. But there is also another point I would like to make it here. And the point is that human rights education is a relatively new thing on international human rights arena. It really was focused on during the Vienna conference in '93 when it was first put in a form of a written paper that's something valuable and to do. We started this conference a few years later, and I must say that over the time, what I've seen, it was a building of human rights education movement. And you all are are part of that movement. And it's important to keep that momentum so we could deliver the human rights education message as far as possible. Finally, the advertisement, and as you heard, we are having next conference in Sydney. Most likely it will be in late November. I'm working on the date now. We plan to celebrate 70th anniversary of Universal Declaration of Human Rights because it will be that time, 10th of December next year. And I will write to all of you. As a matter of fact, I will write to all people who attended our conferences from day one, asking to save a date as soon as we do have that date. Please write to me back if you have some suggestions regarding the themes of focus or conference format. The conference format here was different to the format of previous conferences. I know I will get access to evaluation, and I've seen how it worked here, but if you have some views, let me know. Final, we are also looking for hosts for conferences in 2019 and 2020. If you work for an organization which is interested in taking part in this big social enterprise, please let me know. And thank you, and Ian, well done. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sev. And now, finally, I get to introduce Ian from Equitas. And of course, you know he's our executive director, and he'll help us close the conference. Ian.
Thank you, Sev. Thank you, Andrė. Thank you, Audrey. Thank you, George, for your remarks. As we close our conference together, I want to end as we started on Thursday evening by recognizing that we are on the traditional and unceded territory of the Kanien'kehá:ka people. We truly appreciate the welcome that we received in the words of Otsitsa Kenra, which I believe set a tone for a very productive conference. And I think particularly for the Canadian participants and for myself, set the important message of reminded us the importance of critical reflection, self-reflection, and the work we all need to continue to do. We had been congratulating ourselves since Thursday evening that we had not only managed to organize a conference and bring you together, but that we had managed the weather and avoided snowstorms in Montreal or freezing temperatures. The one thing we did not think about is that we had to actually also organize the weather in Toronto. Our Minister for the Status of Women really wanted to be with us here this afternoon, but she's stuck in Toronto at the airport because of fog. But she did really want me to convey her greetings. I spoke to her press attaché who was here to meet her, and I gave her a copy of the declaration, and we arranged that we would be meeting in the next little while to share with her the results of the conference, the good practices as well as the recommendations. Alors à ce stade, il me reste seulement une grande responsabilité pour continuer sur le thème, et c'est vraiment de remercier tous ceux et celles qui sont responsables pour le succès de notre temps ensemble. Une conférence comme ça ne s'organise pas tout seul. Et un des ingrédients les plus importants sont les participants et les participantes. Alors, je vous remercie tous et toutes pour être venus, pour avoir dédié ces 3 jours et demi à la discussion, à la réflexion sur l'éducation aux droits humains, d'être aussi courageux et courageuses pour venir à Montréal en hiver. Je pense la richesse de la conférence, c'est à cause de vous, votre engagement et votre esprit d'ouverture pendant ces 3 jours et votre engagement dans les discussions. Alors, merci beaucoup. Je remercie également tous ceux et celles qui étaient responsables pour avoir organisé des ateliers. Alors, toute la méthodologie de cette conférence s'était basée sur ceux qui ont soumis des demandes et des propositions d'organiser des ateliers. J'ai reçu beaucoup de feedback et j'ai compris, j'ai pas pu assister à assez des ateliers, mais je sais qu'ils sont très bien passés et ça a pris beaucoup d'efforts de la part de tout le monde. Alors merci à tous ceux et à toutes celles qui étaient impliqués à ce niveau. Je remercie aussi tous ceux qui ont participé à nos sessions plénières. On avait un très bon mix de praticiens, d'académiciens et aussi de décideurs qui ont donné un ton pour les discussions qui sont passées pendant les ateliers. Puis, le travail qu'on a commencé pour cette conférence a commencé tout de suite après qu'on est rentré de Santiago au décembre dernier. Et on a pu engager avec un groupe de partenaires qui nous a appuyés, le Commissariat des droits de l'homme. Alors, je remercie Elena, George et aussi Andrew Gilmore qui était avec nous vendredi. L'Université Concordia, on avait le doyen Andrė, on avait le président Alan Shepard, puis notre partenaire qui est encore ici, je pense, Richard Schmidt, qui est là. Merci, Richard. L'Université de Québec à Montréal, Lucie Lamarche, qui était le lead là-bas. Puis le McGill Center for Human Rights and Legal Pluralism, Nandini Ramanujam. And of course, Western Sydney University and Dr. Ozdowski. On avait aussi l'appui de Amnesty International, de la Commission canadienne des droits de la personne, la Commission des droits de la personne et droits de la jeunesse de Québec, et the Australian Council for Human Rights Education et la Ville de Montréal qui ont siégé sur notre comité aviseur. Je remercie aussi Madame la secrétaire générale, Michaël Jean, de la francophonie, et Madame Audrey Delacroix pour être ici avec nous et devoir apporter le message du secrétaire général. Merci à tous ces partenaires. Others have mentioned the fantastic work of the volunteers, and from the very beginning, From the very beginning, I've been getting incredible feedback from all of you just about what an amazing job they've been doing. And so if you will permit me, I'd like to name many of them, at least all of those, many of them who are here today. It's a longer list than this list, but I think it's worth, just given their efforts, that we mention them by name. Anna Maria, Alexandra, Leah, Sarah, Tarek, Varanya, Manon, Michael, William, Camille, Zach, Missani, Ferry, Juliette, Laurencia, Satoko, Annette, Sydney, Heidi, Manar, Samuel, Jennifer, Sarah, Johanna, Camila, Gabrielle, Cara, Sherzad, Jenna, Layla, Sarah again, Kelly, Lawrence, Mariam, Carl, Fred, Madeleine, and all those who've been volunteering. Let's give them another big round of applause. Three and a half days and they're still smiling. Of course, there's another important ingredient to the success of this conference, and that's the Equitas team. And I've been executive director now since 2004, and I've always felt it a privilege to lead such a dynamic team. And everyone on staff was involved in this effort. They've been moderating sessions, they've been giving advice and planning along the way, but I would like to just recognize those who are particularly responsible for this activity. First off, Vincenza, Jean-Sébastien, Marcello, Anna, Annie, Nadia, Marwa, Brigitte, Georgiana, Sausan, and Amy. It's been a great team. Thank you. When we were developing our scenario in terms of how the conference would unfold by 15-minute chunks, I think it's at about 5 o'clock tonight that we sleep. I think if I remember correctly, that's what we said. I also want to recognize and thank again our financial partners who helped us make sure that we could host this. Of course, Global Affairs Canada, le Ministère des Relations Internationales de la Francophonie du Québec, the OHCHR, which was also a financial partner, the International Development Research Council, our lead sponsor, TD Bank, the J.W. McConnell Foundation, as well as the in-kind support of Concordia University providing these facilities, and all our other corporate sponsors. Thank you very much. Merci beaucoup. And I want to close just by sharing two commitments that I made as we were putting our stickies on the board. I haven't put them up on the app yet, but I will. First, a personal commitment. And it goes back to what I said at the beginning of my remarks today. I think for me, I'm personally committing myself to learn more about both the challenges and the opportunities of reconciliation in Canada and how that can inform my work and how that can inform, hopefully, the work of Equitas, I would expect. And I can't remember the number of the recommendation, Vincenzo, that's connected to, but I know it's connected to a recommendation. The organizational commitment is connected to recommendation 2.2.9, and it's connected to the importance of maintaining collaboration between the various actors who are here. So the importance to have an impact in human rights education, to have collaboration between international organizations, between civil society organizations, national, provincial, municipal governments, as well as academic institutions. And here I'm committing Equitas to do our best to keep the conversations alive. The application that you've been using over the last many days, because it started before the conference, will remain active for at least the next year. So we encourage you to continue to use this space for the discussions that have started. And I know in my own case, there are people I wanted to talk to and I haven't had enough time, so that I will use it to reach out to you. But please continue to do that. Please let us know if there are documents you wish us to upload that we can share through the application. We're also going to get back in touch with you. We want to follow up with you, if not beforehand, at least within the next 6 months, to ask you in terms of how the conference has helped shape your actions, to what extent you've been able to follow up on the commitment you've made today or during the conference, or other areas that the conference has helped your practice. And I think the other thing that we want to do is we want to do whatever we can to help SEV in organizing the next conference in Sydney, because we now really understand what it involves. We're happy to share our experience. And I think we want, as I said, we want you to go back inspired by the discussions that you've had over these 3.5 days, equipped with the new knowledge, the solidarity from the relationships that you've built, to see how you can use the Declaration as a tool for advancing human rights education in your own country. And we hope that next year that many of us can gather again in Sydney to check in and see how far have we come, what is the next challenges ahead of us. So I wish you all a safe trip home, and I look forward to seeing you again next year in Sydney. Thank you. Merci beaucoup.
So before we end, we'd like to have a group picture. So we figured the easiest way to do it is if you move down and try to occupy the center part of the theater. And also remember to return your headsets at the end. And people have had questions about the photos. They will be uploaded to the app. Right now they're on the Facebook page. So please come down and try to occupy from, that's it, the center here. Yeah, he's going to go, yeah, no. He's gonna go.
Could we